No, ma'am. It's okay.
No. Actually, this is a design class, so unless you interact, it is not possible to solve the problem. So then I will proceed to the next stage. So after window, we have to first start designing the winding. Now the winding has to be accommodated inside the window. Now we have the LV winding and HV winding. So we know that LV winding is on the inner side. And the reasons also you know, because it is the low voltage. So insulation requirement from the core to the winding will be less if we put the LV in the inner side. And besides that, the other thing is that the tappings are provided on the HV winding. So if it is on the outer side, it is easier to bring out the tappings. So LV winding is in the inner side. So we start with the LV winding. So first, uh, the current is LV winding current is Q is our KVA rating. So LV winding voltage. So transformer, we know the efficiency is very high. So we consider that the KVA by the voltage will be the current. So for example, say that where it is does not matter whether it is the secondary or primary. We will always have the LV on the inner side and we start with the LV winding. So if B is the B kVA is the LV winding voltage, so this is the current. Now, what will be the type of the winding? That depends on the winding voltage rating and the current it is carrying. Now, if the voltage is less than 11 kV, spiral or helical winding is used. So, higher current, for higher current, it is normally the helical winding. Now, if the current is less than 45 ampere and voltage is greater than 11 kV, then most preferred is the crossover winding. If the current is greater than 45 ampere and voltage is more than 11 kV, then we have the disc winding. Now, these are the basic winding. Besides that, in the distribution transformers you see on the roadside, a large number of them have foil winding that is very special. So we are not going into in that details. We will just depends. We will just do our design based on these traditional windings. Okay. Now for now how these windings are defined. Now as below 11 kV, I will ask we will go for helical winding. So we will first start with helical winding. Now first what we find is the area of the conductor required. Now this is the current and this is the current density. Current density we assume a value and we start and say we will calculate the area. Now current density, even now most of the transformers have copper winding, that is most common. So copper winding, and it is a static device. So delta what we normally admit is 3 amp per millimeter square or 3 into 10 to the power 6 amp per meter square. So that is the value of delta. Actually, delta value for copper winding for rotating machine, when you design, you will see that value is higher. Now, if the area calculated is within 50 to 60 millimeter square, then single rectangular conductor is used. Now, if this area is greater than 50 to 60 millimeter square, then a number of parallel rectangular conductors are used. Now, when going for rectangular conductor, there are some thumb rules. Minimum number of conductor in parallel is 4. That means, say you have this area calculated as 100 millimeter square. Then it is more than 50 to 60 millimeter square. So we have to go for parallel conductor. But obviously, if we if we want to have at least 4 conductors, then our area of each conductor will be 100 by 4, that is 25. Now that is, this value is the maximum. We can have less than this. Now the conductors are arranged at least in 2 rows. The total number of conductors should not be a prime number. That's why we start from 4. That is, if we have 3 conductors, then actually we can have 3 in this vertical wise arranged or 3 in horizontally. Now this way horizontally we do not go arrange, then this height to width ratio will be skewed, and if the width depth of the conductor is more, then there will be more skin effect. So that is avoided. So we cannot have 3. So if we have 4, we can arrange 2 by 2. Now again, if we have 5, then we cannot have at least 2. Then this 5, the same problem. So normally we will have 4 and no prime number. Say this is the arrangement. This is for a, see, there are 6 parallel strips. There are 6 parallel strips. So 6 parallel strips, when we arrange, can be 3 height wise and 2 width wise. Or the other option is obviously 3 width wise and 2 height wise. That will be avoided because depth will be more. There will be more skin effect. And this conductor I have shown, you can see that the height, this is the height is more than the width. This height to width ratio should be between 2 to 5. Now if it is below 2, that means this height is small, and this will increase the width, so there will be more skin effect. Again, if we go for height to width ratio more than 5, that means this side is very large, so this will be very thin. So that will reduce the mechanical strength. Now, first of all, one thing I should explain, why we go for rectangular conductor. Now, when we are going for parallel strip, obviously we can go for circular or rectangular conductor. The fact is that if we have circular conductor, then circular conductor will be placed like this. So there will be these places in the corner, there will be vacant spaces. So actually area occupied by the conducting material is quite less, and there will be more, that is less, and there will be more area which is occupied by the insulation, or that cannot be filled kept back in. So there will be more insulation space. So actually that space utilization is better if we go for a rectangular arrangement. Another thing is that when we go for rectangular conductor, now these conductors has to be bent to make a winding around the core. Now when we go for a circular conductor, what is the minimum bending radius? That depends on the radius or diameter of the conductor. So thicker the diameter, the mechanical strength will be more. So it is difficult to wound the winding. And but for rectangular, we are going for higher length and smaller breadth. So it is like a tape. So it is easier to bend and make the winding. And obviously it is much more compact and the space utilization is better. So we go for rectangular conductor when we have we have to go for parallel strips. Now how it is arranged? Now this is the bare conductor, the conductor. Over that we have a insulation. This insulation in transformer, we know this is mainly paper, different quality of paper, double cotton covering or double paper, double or triple coating of paper is there depending on the voltage. Now these are arranged. Then the outer one, this is normally a cotton tape. This is a insulation, and additional thing is that this is something acting as a binder to hold the conductor together. So when we calculate the height and width of the composite conductor, so here you can see that B is the height of individual conductor, and this W is the width, this width. So I have seen here, this is W and this is P. Now the height of composite conductor will be B plus 2 into 0.25. So 0.25 is the thickness of this paper insulation. So B plus 2 into 0.25. So this will be up to this total length. So that is 3 number of these conductors plus 2 into 0.5. 2 into 0.5, this 0.5 is the outer cotton tape. So similarly, for the width, it is W plus 0.25 into 2 plus 2 into 0.5. So that will be the total width of the composite conductor. Now there are, and for the conductors, there you cannot go for any value. So there are standard tables available, because what is the normal standard conductor sizes which is manufactured. So we have height of the HP winding and height of the width of the height of the LV winding and height of the width of the LV winding. Now we have to arrange. I am going for the helical winding. Now say this one I have shown here. This is a one single composite conductor. That is, within it, it has six, according to the previous viewer, 6 conductor in parallel. Now what we with dimension we have already decided. We have already calculated this HW. This is the window height. Now the conductor height should be accommodated inside the window. Now between the yoke and the winding, there should be some insulation. So there should be some clearance, this HYY. Now that obviously depends on the voltage level. Now ideally we want the LV winding and the HP winding height to be same. So in that case, if we want the height to be same, that means in that case this clearance from the yoke is decided by the HV winding voltage. So this is the standard value which is used. That is the highest high HV winding voltage level for the HYY is this. So if we now know HW and HYY, then what is the height available for accommodating the winding? So winding height, if we consider this is capital HLV, so that is equal to height of the window minus 2HY. Now for the helical, actually what is the difference between a helical and the spiral winding? Both are just wound around the core. There is no gap between the successive turns. Now in helical winding, an intentional twist is given to the turn. So, and if you compare this now, if you have seen the a sewing machine, then you seen the bobbin of a sewing machine. There the thread is wound around the and that is similar to a spiral winding. That is no twist, so it is loose. So, but if you see the reel of the thread available from the shops, then you will see that is wound around the cylindrical paper spool, but it has a twist in a twisted fashion, so the grip is much more. So helical winding, there will be an intentional twist of equivalent to height of one turn, and this twist makes the mechanical grip of the helical winding better. So that is the main difference. So if there are n turns and there is one turn intentional twist, so height of the HV winding will be n plus 1 into HLB. This is HLB is the height of a single composite conductor. N is the number of turns per layer plus 1. So in this equation, this n is unknown. So n is number of turns per layer. So we can calculate it. Now obviously this n should be an integer. We cannot have a fraction. So say if we calculate, we calculated it for this present figure, say it came out as 1.6 or something. So we have changed it to 2. Okay. So 2 for the present case. In that case, that n value, that is the number of turns per layer, should be actual. What is the actual modified value? Will be NLB, the number of turns of the LV winding, divided by 2, because NLB by 2 is accommodated on one limb, divided by 2. Now this we had to this again have to be a integer. Now if it happens to be a fraction, say because say our NLV is equal to 30, then NLV by 2 is 15, so that divided by 2 won't be an integer. So 15 if we have to accommodate, then we have to accommodate as 8 and 7. We cannot have 7.5. So one layer will have 8 turns, one layer will have 7 turns. There will be slight difference in the height of the two layers. Now, so our whatever height we started from, now actually the LV winding height has modified. We won't provide any extra space. So LV winding modified height will be n mod plus 1. That is, in this equation, n is replaced by n mod into HLV. So this is the height of LV winding. Now knowing the height of LV winding, now we go for the HV winding. Now whatever ratings I have given you, most of all of your designs will have helical as your HV winding, LV winding. Now we have to go for HV winding. HV winding current will be the VA rating divided by the voltage. Now again the same law applies, that is, if the voltage is less than 11 kV, spiral or helical conductors can be used. If the current is less than 45 ampere and voltage greater than 11 kV, crossover conductor is used. Current is greater than 45, voltage is greater than 11 kV. These windings are used. Now, so if your rating, high voltage rating is say 6.6 kV, obviously your high voltage winding also will be helical. So the same way we will, the basic logic will be same like what we have applied for the LV winding. So I am not going into, I will just discuss the crossover and disc winding in details. Now, first of all, the number of turns of HV winding is HV voltage by LV voltage into NLV into, say, here I have multiplied by 1.05. That is because your problem, I have given a tapping of plus minus 2.5 and plus minus 5%. Now, if we have to provide that plus 5% tapping, then that 5% voltage, 5% turns should be available. So your HV turns should be like this one, and this should be made multiple of 2. Now for the crossover winding, that is if your current is less than 45 ampere, voltage is greater than 11 kV, we will go for the crossover winding. Now for crossover winding, we use circular conductor. Okay. It is used with circular conductor. Conductors are arranged like this. That is, the winding is divided into stacks. This is one stack, this is connected in series with this is another stack, and so here I have shown 4 stacks in one leaf, and each one stack will have an arrangement like this. Conductors are arranged, then we have a insulation, then the next layer, then again insulation. Now for HV winding, helical winding, what we have discussed, obviously between the 2 layers we will have insulation, or most of the cases we will have duct, oil duct, because those are high current winding. Voltage is low, so current rating is high, so there will be ducts in case of helical winding. That is the arrangement here. There will be a duct between these. Now how this duct is provided? Now basically after the winding there will be a insulating cylinder, then there will be spacers, then again an insulating cylinder. So between these 2 cylinders there will be a gap which will create the duct. Now what is between these 2 layers? Normally the duct size is 10 millimeter. Now for helical one stack we do not have ducts, current is not that high, but we have a insulation because the voltage will be high. So raiseboard insulation, then next layer, and so on. Now there are for the conductor selection, now this is the area of the high voltage conductor, that will be high voltage current divided by delta. So this is equal to pi by 4 d square. So D is equal to root over 4 by pi HV. Now there is a standard SWG wire gauge table from which you have to select a conductor whose diameter is nearer to this D. Now number of stacks per limb. Now this is the number of stacks per limb, that is in this figure I have shown 4. So how you select that? Now each stack should have voltage around 1500 volt. So HV is the voltage rating of the high voltage winding divided by 1500. That is total number of stacks required. That divided by 2 will be number of stacks per limb. Now height of stack, H stack. Height of stack is this height. So what will be height of stack? Now we want that our HV winding and LV winding height should be same. So we start with the winding height equal to LV winding height. That is this modified value. What we have calculated is the last calculation. So each stack will have a have a gap of 6 millimeter between it, and one gap should be 10 millimeter to bring out the tapping. So in this figure we have 4 stacks, so we have 3 gaps. So one is 10 millimeter, 2 will be 6 millimeter. So stack height of each stack will be, this is the height of the winding, minus one gap is 10 millimeter, minus, if you have N1 stack per limb, then N1 minus 2 gaps is equal to 6. So So this is the space available, that is height of the winding minus this gap length is the space of the winding space available for the conductor. So this divided by N1 should be height of the stack. Next, turns per stack is equal to N stack say is equal to total number of turns of HV divided by 2 divided by N1. Now number of conductor arranged in one layer per stack. Now that will one layer per stack is this one. This depends on the height. So we have the height of the stack divided by D is the diameter of the conductor we have selected plus 2 into 0.25 in the insulation. This is the bare diameter. So plus insulated diameter. So this is N layer. Now obviously number of radial layers per stack will be N stack divided by N layer. Now obviously all this should be integer, and another thing is that N layer should be an odd integer. N layer is the number of layers. That should be odd integer. That is because the winding is wound like this. If we start from here, we finish from here. Then this layer is start from here, finish from here. Then start, finish, start, finish, start, finish. So if we have an odd number of layers, then we start from here, finish from here. So for the next layer, we will again start from here. So it will connect it in series like this. Now instead of that, if we have even number of layers, then we will finish here. So the connection we have to make is from here to here. So to avoid that cumbersome connections, we will have odd integer as number of layers. So if when we change the number of layers to odd integer, obviously that will the N layer modified will be N stack divided by N layer, the modified value. So modified, that will modify the height, because this N layer modified, that is number of turns per layer we have modified. So D is there. So multiplying this, we will get this 8 stack modified. So if we modified this, then the height of the HB will be this 8 stack into N1 plus 10 plus N1 minus 2 into 6. Now we can see that if you have to change, you will see that there will be slight difference in LV and HV binding. Now that difference we can try to adjust the conductor of the LV binding and adjust. But even then, ideally, though they should be the same height, exactly we cannot make them exactly the same. But adjusting the gaps and insulation, it can be made as close as possible. The next winding is the Dix winding. Then the Dix winding is used for high current and high voltage. Now the number of disc per limb here, number of disc per limb will be, this is the height of the winding. Now again, the gap between each disc should be 6 millimeter and one gap is 10 millimeter to bring out the tappings. Now each disc will look like this, that is one layer, then one layer, this is wound like this. So this is something like a flat coil type of construction, but if we each section will be like this. Now so N disc, number of disc will be height of the winding minus this is the space occupied by the gaps, so divided by height of the individual conductors. Now disc winding is used with rectangular conductor, and the conductor is selected in the same way we select the helical conductor, rectangular conductor. So this is the composite conductor. So turns per disc will be number of turns divided by 2 divided by number of discs. Height of the LB winding then will be height of the conductor into number of discs plus the gaps. So again, this height should be equal to the height we have started, but there will be slight difference which can be adjusted. So after calculating the winding dimension, next thing is that we have to calculate the percentage reactance. Now actually the reactance I have specified in the problem. Now the reactance depends on the conductor arrangement. Now I will give some the relationship which are empirical relationships like this. I have assumed the arrangement of winding like this. That is, I have assumed that the LV winding has been arranged in two sections. Then HV winding is also a helical winding which is arranged in which has got 6 layers, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 layers per limb. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, but arranged in basically two sections. That is 2 layers with the insulation. Then there is a gap or the duct, and then again the 2 layers. LV, however, we have a duct between the 2 layers. So we are considering section that is when it is there is a duct between these. So this is first section of LV, second section of LV. In between we have a duct. Then there is a gap between LV and HV. This is also an oil duct, but the dimension will depend on the HV winding voltage. Then we have the HV winding, which is also arranged in two sections, but each section will consist of 2 layers. So that are the corresponding diameters. So this D is the core circle diameter. So into 2C0, that is the clearance between the core and the LV winding, that will give you D1. Send D1 plus 2 into A1, where A1 is the width of the first layer of first section of LV winding. Here I have got a single layer for a section, so this is WLV. Similarly, we will get all these diameters accordingly. Now, this is width of first section of LV, WLV. Width of second section of LV is WLV because which has both single layers. A3 is the width of first section of HV winding. It has got 2 layers. So 2 into WHV plus 0.5 is the insulation between the 2 layers. Similarly, A4 is also 2 into WLV plus 0.5. Now C0 is the clearance between the core and the LV winding. Depends on the voltage of LV winding. So it is 0.9 into LV voltage in kV plus 5 millimeter. So make it a nearest integer. Then C1 is the clearance between HV and LV winding. Depends on the HV winding voltage, which is 0.9 into HV voltage in kV plus 5 millimeter. Again rounded off to nearest millimeter. C2 is the clearance between HV winding of 2 limbs. It will be C1 plus 5 millimeter, which depends on high voltage. Now B1 and B2 are oil duct, which are standard 10 millimeters. So adding, we will have all these diameter. Next, we will calculate reactant factors. Reactance factors we will calculate for first layer of first section of LV, then for the duct, then second section of LV, then for the mid duct, then first section of HV, then for the duct, and then for the second section of LV. So LV reactance factor 1, low voltage reactance factor 1 is pi d1 plus d2 by 2 into h3 by 3 into 1 by HLB. So pi d1 plus d2 by 2 into with this ALB divided by 3 into 1 plus HLB. A1 by 3 into 1 plus HLB. Then low voltage duct factor. So between for the duct between the two sections of LV will be pi d2 plus d3 by 2 into b1 by 4 into 1 by HLB. Then low voltage reactance factor 2 will be pi into d3 plus d4 by 2 into a3 by 3 into 1 plus HLB. Mid duct factor is pi d4 plus d5 by 2 into c1 into 1 by HLB. Then we will have similarly high voltage reactance factor 1, duct factor, high voltage reactance factor 2. So total reactance factor is summation of all these. The leakage reactance will be, this will be twice pi f mu 0 NLV by 2 square total reactance factor. This is for one limb into 2 because we are connected in series. Now, what we are interested in the percentage. So percentage reactance will be current into x1 divided by voltage into 100 equal to epsilon x. Now, epsilon r is very small, so this epsilon x, the epsilon r also we can calculate, but before we will discuss it afterwards. But for thumb rule, as epsilon r is very small, so epsilon x should be less than equal to the value what I have specified. Now we will allow an error of 10%. That is, if I have specified, say impedance as 4%, that means 10% of that. That means it should lie within 3.6 to 4.4. So if it is specified at 5%, so it should lie between 4.5 to 5.5 and so on, because this is a hand calculation. So make the margin smaller than that will be difficult. So we will allow 10% error in that. So when you come to that, you will see that your epsilon x, to match the epsilon x, you might have to rearrange the winding. Okay. So unless you do one iteration, then only we can discuss how to rearrange the winding. Now, one thing I have considered helical winding for the LV. Now, if you have this or crossover winding, then actually this duct will not be there. That is, this will be in one section. So up to LV first section, HV first section, one section will be there. So instead of a gap between, it will be a single section. So when you come here, you will have this up to this D7. You will have D7 or D6. You will have diameter up to D6. So obviously, when you calculate the reactance factor, you will have reactance factor up to this, not this two. Otherwise, the same you will consider these formulas independent of the type of the winding. Now, these this proof of these expressions, you can, if you are any of you interested, you can consult any of the design books available. There are some proofs, and now again you can see that from book to book it might differ slightly how they are arranged, but ultimately you will get more or less the same value. So I would request you to go for the winding time calculation, because once you start winding calculation, you will have several questions. You have to adjust the winding. So you do the calculations, and we can discuss in the next class. If required, you can send me mail for if you have any queries. Those tables for the conductors I will send by mail. Do not leave before I leave. I will take the attendance, okay? Okay, we'll meet next Friday again. Next Friday. Okay, Friday no holiday. Thursday is a holiday. So we'll meet on next Friday.
ম্যাম ম্যাম আগের দিন ক্লাসটা করতে পারিনি, তো সেই হিসেবে কি আমি মানে সেশনাল থেকে অ্যাবসেন্ট হয়ে যাবো নাকি মানে আমি করতে পারবো?
না পুরোটার উপর ডিপেন্ড করে তো হবে না তুমি ক্লাসে কি রেসপন্স করছো কিনা করো।
ওকে ম্যাম।
অনেকগুলো ক্লাস নেবো, একটা তো নিচ্ছি না। ওকে,
ওকে।
আচ্ছা।